In honor of Riri Williams, this is going to be a science-heavy episode, so get suited up. Justin Warner here, and today we're taking to the skies with a savory oatmeal? Regardless, it's going to be delicious and it'll be inspired by the one and only Ironheart. First, we're going to add some vegetable oil to the pan. About a tablespoon, maybe two. I'm going to swirl the pan around to give it a nice coat. I've got this set over about medium heat, and to this, I'm going to add some onion. You don't have to go to MIT to know that onions are in the allium family. Or maybe you do. So alliums are essentially things that are in the onion or onion-like family. Generally, they're a bulb. A greenish plant will grow out from them. They have roots at the bottom of the bulb, and generally they have a sort of sulfuric flavor. What does sulfuric taste like? I guess you could say somewhere between onions and eggs. So my onions have begun to brown. I'm gonna add some spices. Here I have some cumin and cilantro in its seed form, coriander. So what I'm doing here is actually toasting the spices. See, in the spices, there are oils and volatile aromatic compounds. These are compounds that are only really released when they're heated and then launched into the air. That's basically what aroma is like invisible particles. Now for the main event, we're going to add our oatmeal. Not only is oatmeal high in fiber, it also reduces low-density lipoproteins, which are LDLs, a.k.a. the bad cholesterol. You think bad cholesterol like gets up and it's like, I'm coming for your arteries. And to really amp up the savoriness of this savory oatmeal, some iron-rich beef broth. That sound there that you just heard is actually the sound of deglazing. As things cook, they tend to stick to the bottom of the pan and caramelize and actually burn ever so slightly. But the thing is, there's lots of flavor locked in there. So when we pour in that liquid, what happens is it steams and then lifts those things off the bottom of the pan. While the oatmeal cooks, we're gonna make a spicy sauce inspired by Ironheart's New Mexican adventures. Here we have some dried New Mexican chilies. This is oregano. And then we have some garlic. The sauce that we're going to be making is kind of a deep cut. It's called Chile Caribe. Basically what it is somewhere between a sauce and a puree. To get these chilies ready for blending, we're going to remove the ribs and the seeds. The ribs and the seeds are where the spiciest elements of the pepper are because that's where it stores capsicum. Capsicum, of course, is the stuff that is hot. It's an irritant to your tongue and any other mucous membranes. When working with peppers, for maximum safety, you should always wear gloves and never touch your eyes. Pretty simple process to get rid of the seeds and ribs. I'm just going to snip the top off, shake out some of the seeds, then I'm just going to kind of cut it open as though you were opening a letter. That's a love letter from New Mexico. So why New Mexico for Riri? Well, Riri built her suit out of components that she had borrowed from MIT. And then, well, she wanted to take them on a test flight to kind of test them out, make sure everything was hunky-dory. Well, she flew all the way to New Mexico, and there she encountered some inmates who had escaped from a prison. This is actually not an uncommon sight in New Mexico. There goes my tourism board deal. Riri sees that these inmates have escaped, and so Riri does what any hero would do and puts them in their place. Back in jail. In the process, though, she damaged her suit and was stuck in New Mexico for a little bit, where I imagine she could have had something like Chile Caribe, the sauce that we're making. We've got our heaping helping of chilies. Now we're gonna add some oregano. Oregano is gonna provide kind of like a little bit of a floral note. Some people like to say oregano is the pizza herb, but it has all sorts of other applications. Now I'm gonna add some garlic to the mix. This specific sauce never gets cooked. By not cooking them, we're kind of preserving the delicate, sort of metallic flavors that are in the peppers themselves. Let's add some water. You know what's funny is like water and iron, they don't really get together, they make rust. But it's neither here nor there. It's going in there. What's actually happening here is not so much that these blades are sharp, but they spin so fast that it creates a cyclonic force. The particles that are suspended in there are then going to collide with each other and break up. Water helps that because it creates a stronger cyclone current than air would. You don't have to be an MIT student to know that you should plug in the blender. Or maybe you do. Oh yeah. Let's give it a taste. It's spicy. It's got some floral notes from the oregano. It's got garlic, but what it needs is salt. Salt's great. It's one of the few rocks that we eat. Now that we've added some salt, we're gonna reblend. Let's check on our oatmeal. As you can see, our oatmeal is bubbling away. The vast majority of the beef stock has been absorbed by the oatmeal, like a little sponge. And I think this oatmeal is done. Riri is Chicago's hometown hero, so we're gonna finish this dish off with some Italian beef. Why? Well, you don't have to be an MIT student to know that Chicagoans love Italian beef. Or maybe you do. Let's serve this up. I'm gonna season up the oatmeal real quick. Into the bowl it goes. I think it's amazing how just adding beef stock to the oatmeal gives it more of a savory look. To me, that almost looks like a risotto or perhaps a porridge of some sorts. Next, our Italian beef. Oh yeah. To add just a little more Chicago, some giardiniera. Giardiniera is a sort of pickled vegetable mix. This is gonna add some texture and some acidity to our savory oatmeal bowl. Next, we're gonna add our sauce. Oh boy. For some crunch, some blue corn tortilla chips. To echo our members of the allium family that we had in the base of the dish, we're gonna add a few crinkles of green onion. And then lastly, for a nice herbaceous and floral note, some cilantro. As you will recall, we had cilantro in its seed form, a.k.a. coriander. Let's give this Ironheart inspired savory oatmeal a try. We got herbs, we got acid. I mean, just like Ironheart, it's kind of the complete package. But let's find out. There's so much going on in this dish that I love, but I think the thing that I love most is it reminds me of Riri in the sense that this dish wasn't a miracle. It wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider. There's no superpower to it. It just had a plan, and it had smart execution. That to me is Riri Williams. Well, that's all we've got for Eat the Universe. We'll see you next time.